accounts within It's Learning. I have quite a few primary schools that I look after.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Sorry I'm late, Niha.
It's all right. We haven't started yet, so you're fine.
Are we still waiting for Dave? Do you know, Monica, if Dave's joining?
He should be, from what I know. Sorry, let me just go see here.
I think someone tried to join and then disconnected again.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Monica, if I'm correct, you are the advocate that Dave has requested to work with us.
Yes, I am.
So pleasure to be introduced to you.
Yes.
And we will support you as much as we can. So what Dave described to me is that you are familiar using G Suite.
Yeah, so I've used G Suite in schools during my placements in Canada. So G Suite is really big. I've used Microsoft Teams as well. So
Okay.
I kind of have experience in both. But from when I spoke to Dave, he kind of said that It's Learning does G Suite, but through kind of like an educational perspective. So that's why.
So we can integrate with G Suite and with Teams, with Office 365.
Okay.
So whatever you want. The problem comes in the way that the school has set up Google and Office 365, i.e. through LGFL. But we'll tackle that in a different meeting. This meeting's about Niha introducing you to It's Learning, and we're hoping that, I think Vicky, do you know someone called Vicky?
Yeah, she's our deputy head.
Yes, so she was meant to join as well. So I'm hoping she and Dave will join. And I was hoping also the head might join as well. But
yes, Ms. Fernandez. Let me just see if I could send them a quick email.
What's your background, by the way? Are you from Canada or?
Yeah, so I was born in Canada and then I came here. I came here this year. Well, actually, no, last year in September, and I'm just teaching at a year 5 class now. So.
Okay, what part of Canada are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
Okay, lovely. I've heard nice things about it.
Yeah, it's an awesome city. It's good. It's just, I think there's a lot more teaching opportunities here in England in general. Right now, it wasn't too great. So that's why one of the main reasons I came here is just to kind of get my foot in quicker, as opposed to being a supply for X amount of years, and God knows how long it would take for me to get a focus type position.
Well, pleasure to be introduced to you. I think, Niha, do you want to shoot on? I think, Monica, your views will be quite important to Dave, and I'm sure Vicky and the head as well. So I think on that note, Niha, just want to kick on, and
yeah, I can do.
Anytime you want to ask questions, please, Niha's, or I'll do my best to contribute as well.
Okay.
Okay, let me just move a few screens around. Right. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Beautiful.
Yep, perfect. Right, so this is actually my demo account that I thought it would be easier for me to show you things on here rather than on your account at the minute, because your account, we haven't set it up yet to set it. Well, we have set it up, but it's not set up to show all these features because there's not a lot of activity going on your account. So we will have to obviously have a separate discussion about what you need, how you're going to set up your courses, all that sort of stuff before we could do it for you. So just to briefly explain, most my primary schools or my junior and infant schools, the way they have it set up is that they have obviously all these different year groups. But within these year groups, they then have two or three different classes. So they might have 3 different classes in year 3, 3 in year 2, 3 in year 4, that sort of stuff. So usually they have this sort of setup. So this is our course dashboard. Have you actually seen what It's Learning before?
We did have a little introductory course to it, so we did kind of play around with the features.
Okay.
But that's about it. I think it was just a lot at once, and I think it's easier to break it down and maybe kind of it was kind of very self-led, I would say, not very directed. And I feel like that's what we needed it to be, more directed, and to know what we're doing, as opposed to just kind of like, here, play around with it, see what the features are.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I won't go mainly into the features. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly show you how some of my schools use it, and just give a quick step-by-step guide, and then we could go in and tailor it to fit what you guys need it to do, or the way you want to set it up. So this is a dashboard for the school. So if you've got both junior and infant within the same site, you can have either two dashboards, one for the junior, one for the infant, or you could have just one, and that then takes you to the various different places. So this in here, the theory is that whether you're a teacher, a student, or a parent, you'll log into this page, you'll see the nice welcome sign, you'll see the school logo. Obviously, this is all cartoony, but you might have actual pictures that you might want to put in.
Okay.
And then you have the year groups here, a parent icon here, staff details here, where staff could log into the staff page. And then this is all just extra information, like you might have an end of year poll that you want to do, any sort of key bulletins you want to share out, that sort of stuff. Because this is a demo site, there's some information that's quite old in here, but I'm just going to click into here so you can see a variety of all the information you could put. So you could put feeds in there, you can add images, you could add extra links, you could add folders. So,
hi there. Yeah, hi. It's Dave Navarro, Vicky Gallagher, and Leonie Fernandez here, joining from St. Joseph's.
Oh, hello.
Good morning. Good morning, Dave. It's Julio speaking. I also joined. Morning. Hello.
Yeah. Is Monica on?
I am.
Hi, Monica. We've just discovered our server doesn't allow us to go into Zoom from the school ID system. So that's something we're going to have to look into. But looks like we can at least join by phone.
In other words, you can't. There's no visuals. You can't see Niha's.
Yeah, it's the way. I mean, we have to change it, but the way it looks like it's configured is this is one of the websites that's denied through LGFL because it's we need to apply for it to be authorized. For example, we can't go to Facebook, right, as a school. So.
Yes, it's just a simple port, Dave, that needs to be opened up. But there's not a problem. That's for another discussion. I think hopefully the right person to see is Monica, and hopefully you can still listen to Niha, who is leading this meeting. And then, any questions you wish to ask, please feel free to ask them.
Okay, right. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, Niha.
It's fine. I just want to mention one thing. So my computer has a mind of its own, and every now and then it decides to mute and everyone. So if it ever does that, and I keep talking, I will keep track of it. But just bear in mind, I haven't ignored anyone. I haven't run away. It just does this. We're trying to work out what it is. Apparently, doing an update didn't solve the problem. So
thanks, Niha. Thank you.
Just thought I would pre-warn you. So just to quickly catch everyone up, I'm just currently going through how some of my schools currently use it. And Monica can see the screen so she can see how you can tailor it. And then we'll go in and talk about what features would work for you and how we can set that up for your site.
That sounds good to me.
Yep. So on here, I'm just showing a course dashboard, which is kind of like the landing page, in which you can have the different classrooms that year groups that the teachers or the parent or the child could go into, then see what they need to see. So all of these links here, which are the class groups, they will then take you to an individual course. So they're just hyperlinked through to take you to an individual course, and then this is like a landing page within that course. Where our courses are set up, so this is a year 3 course, only the teachers in year 3, students or parents in year 3 will see this.
Monica, on that one. But on Teams.
If anyone else logged in and they're not part of year 3, they will see access denied. Obviously, some schools would want maybe someone in SLT or someone in an admin level to have access to it, just to keep everything, just to be able to see everything, but that's entirely up to the school. So in here, obviously, this is probably not how a year 3 is going to have it set out, in the sense they might not have all these subjects. But this is just an example. So these then take you to the relevant subject areas. So all the maths resources would be behind this button, or the English behind this. This is just briefly to say what the topics are going to be for this term. Then in here, you've got the different classrooms. So my classrooms are based on trees. And for example, they're clicking to Holly, it will take them to their classroom. And then the things that sit behind that classroom are just for those class members to see. So that might mean things like pictures that are relevant only to that classroom. If the different classrooms set different homeworks because they work at different speeds, you'll put it in that behind this individual class.
She's a consultant.
Okay.
So that's kind of how you can set it up. Usually, obviously, because of the age of the child, it's quite common for the parent to log in for the child rather than the child to log in directly. So the parent will be able to see this information from a child's view. And if there's any homework, they could click on the homework tab, or if it's in the classroom, they'll see it in there. And they can then keep track of the information that is being relayed to the child. This is where it becomes optional to the school, in the sense that they can either only make the relevant homework become active, so the child and the parent only sees the work that needs to be completed at home, or, as a lot of schools are becoming a lot more open to doing this, is all the resources that are being used to teach in class is also available for the parents to see. Just that way, especially right now, because everyone's homeschooling, it's quite good to put those resources and make them available, so the parents could look at that information and teach the child from that. Whereas when we're in the normal situation where class is taught in school and then homework is set at home, the school might not want to share what is being taught in class. They only want to share the homework. Yeah. But that is absolutely entirely optional, and it's up to the school how they set it up. To change that, all you would do is, on the resources bit, is just change this. So if I toggle that to say not active, as a teacher and as an admin, I can go into this page. A student will not see it. So if I then toggle to a student page, student view, sorry, and go back to, see, they don't even see these folders because they're not active for a child to see.
So they could have an option for them to see it, like that's active right at the moment, like let's say the homework for this week, or they could have it, let's say, for the past few weeks, and you can have it all available.
Yes.
Okay.
Not yet.
Usually when you set a homework, you will put a deadline on there, and when you set it, you can put it so when it's
it can be any.
Once the deadline's passed, it becomes deactivated.
Okay.
So you can set that up as well. And homework, we usually say, even though for junior and infant, and I get this quite a lot, it sounds quite like it's quite older children stuff, but it's just the names that are being used. So basically, an assignment would be used if the child had to submit something back.
Okay.
So if there's a worksheet that you've sent out to them and you want them to complete the worksheet and give it back to you so you can mark, you put that through as an assignment.
Now, can you, sorry to interrupt, but can you use the assignment, let's say I do a Google form, can I attach that Google form as an assignment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this comes in into the G Suite integration that we do.
I'm in that.
Forgive me, the reason I'm introducing, Dave, would you mind perhaps muting from...
Yeah, there's only three of us.
Well, yeah,
because we've
added each other, right?
Dave?
Yeah, I think you can mute it for them.
But
yeah.
work is
I've done that, but I didn't want to them to want to ask a question, and then they couldn't. That's why I unmuted. But we'll leave it as muted for now. Just to let you know, just before, sorry to interject, Niha. Monica, this is a platform that can meet a whole array of use cases. What Niha is presenting to you is how we have learned, or how Niha has learned through her engagement with other customers, to tailor it for early learners. You know, there's a whole different way of doing things if you would like us to explore that. But just to know that this is just one way the platform can be used.
Okay.
So as long as you know that.
So you don't have to use it in all these ways. You might find a way that suits your school differently. But obviously, like Julia said, just showing you what seems to be the common way that my primary level schools are currently using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just something else, where you know, since the school closures, Monica, we've really been working hard to support our schools, and we've done a lot of videos, a lot of webinars. All this stuff is available on the website, and we'll give you that path to it, so you can go to get any other information to help you, or we can support you further, of course. But maybe looking at this presentation that Niha has given you, think about what you would like to achieve in your context, and then maybe we can come back again and tailor it more on a specific. So fine, Monica wants to achieve this. Here's how.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Sorry, Niha.
No, that's fine. So yeah, in an assignment is normally what you would use, and you could use Google Forms or worksheets, any of the sort of that stuff. And it's where a child has to submit something back to you. I should just click in and I'll show you. So there's you just put it through like this. You'll attach the file or the link and things like that in there. You have so you have close after deadline, all that sort of stuff. A task, which is
and then sorry, Niha, you would assign that as homework, wouldn't you, Niha?
You can assign it as homework. Right now, I know a lot of schools aren't really saying it's homework, just mainly because everything is kind of homework at the minute.
Okay.
But it's entirely up to the school how they do that. But yeah, if it's a homework, then you tick the homework box. But we'll go into more detail later on that if you want to. Mainly because I don't want to give you too much information. So here we've got tasks. So a lot of primary schools tend to use tasks because task would be kind of like you need to read a book and give feedback on it, or you need to create a drawing or something like that. More of the practical stuff is done in tasks. So you can still upload things. So if you've got a PDF version of a book, or there's something that they need to do practically, but you've got instructions, you could upload that in there. Set it obviously as a deadline or anything like that. Tick the task box to say if it's a homework. Then you just click save, and what happens with these is when a child has it, they get a screen like this, and they could just toggle to say they've completed it. So you, at the minute where schools are putting things on the website, if you did it like this, as a teacher, you can see when a child has completed something. So if the task was to read a book, they can tick this and say they've read it. If they wanted to add any comments, they can add comments in here, like their comments on what they thought about the book or something like that. It also means that as a teacher, you can see who's accessed it. But at the minute, with everything being on the website, unless you've got very detailed, what's it called? Not logistics. If you've got very detailed MI reports coming back, unless you've got that, you can't really see who's accessed it and who hasn't. Whereas in this one, it makes it that bit more personalized, because you could actually see what child has seen the work, what child has completed it, what child hasn't. This also gives the option for the child to come back to you, or the parent to come back to you and say any comments they have. Whereas when it's on the website, they have to either then email the school or contact the school by phone or something like that, which some people might not want to do. And it also means you'll end up being bombarded with emails coming back from parents.
And then on this task page, I see that you have, like, for example, Smith Amanda. Would
Yeah.
you have all the students on that under the same task to see if it's all completed, or is it each individual?
No, you'll get all of them. So
Okay.
you have all of them in here. This one I set, the way it was set, it's been set for
Which
just one child, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a demo site, so there's not that many children on there, but you would see all the children, and you'll see who's completed it, who hasn't.
Okay.
It also means that if someone hasn't completed it, you could then click on their name and send them a message.
Oh,
Just
okay.
if you've got messages open to say that, you know, why haven't, has this pop-up, can you see this pop-up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you say, why haven't you completed, and you could just send that off and message is sent to them.
Okay.
So that's why it's, especially at a time like this, it's quite good to keep the messaging tabs available for students to communicate with students, because even if the parent is logging in for the child, you can still send a message and the parent can reply back saying, you know, I haven't completed, they haven't completed it because of this, this and this. And it makes it quite useful. You could also do the same thing of that in a, let me see where I've got an assignment.
Just while you're looking for one, Neha, Monica, we also facilitate integrating all the users that are on your MIS, and that would facilitate very easily building courses and getting the right students into the right course.
Okay.
Also to provision all your parents mapped to their respective children, and then you can create a group, as Neha mentioned earlier, she showed you earlier, how you can engage with your parents, which I think in this particular time of remote learning, it's very important to keep the parents informed as much as the students informed about expectations and how you as a school are supporting them.
For sure. And the groups are, sorry, but the groups are under how you did it under the branches, the types of trees, right? That's like the specific class group that you're talking about right now?
Yeah, so you could do it as class groups, you could do them as form groups. So if I go into my admin tab, mine is probably not going to show much because I haven't used an MIS system for it. Oh, where is it? No, sorry, wrong one. So we call them hierarchies. So within the hierarchies, I've got parents, staff and students, but within then the students, you can have them in year groups.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to break it down further to then have them in class groups, so if you've got 3 classes for year 1, you'll then have the 3 classes for year 1. And same with staff, because you might have SLT, part-time staff, full-time staff, and then admin staff.
Okay.
So you could group that as well it's through one. And the benefit of that is that you never need to then upload students yourself. It just comes through, I think, every single day. It syncs through. So on a normal when schools are open, you do often get new children enrolling halfway through the year. And it happens quite a lot. Whereas if it's in one, once it's in Sims, it comes through into its learning and it creates them with their own portfolio, as their own account, puts them into their right classrooms, into their right hierarchy. And because every course will then have a hierarchy. So this is a course, and in there you'll have a hierarchy. I obviously don't because it's a demo account. But when you create these courses, you will choose a hierarchy for it. I'm going to have year 4. So because a child sits in that hierarchy, you don't need to add them to every single course every time you get a new student. Whereas if you do it manually, you don't have a hierarchy here, you will add them to the course manually yourself. So if you've got 1 week where you've got 10 students, you have to do this 10 times, which could be great fun the first time, but I'm sure eventually you'll get to a point where you've had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I was showing you here was if I've, like you asked earlier, I've got all this is all my students. I need to complete the work. And obviously they can't see who's completed it and who hasn't. You can as a teacher.
Okay, beautiful.
And it would just be the students in this class. So you might have a class, a subject that only certain students are taught for whatever reason, and only they will see the courses in there, and only they will get the task or the assignment to complete. So obviously that's a brief overview of the different ways that you can do it. How, in terms of the way your school's set up, would you have a course for all your year 1, for example, and then, like I've done it here, have individual courses for the different classrooms?
Well, I think from my experience in year 5, we're basically on the same schedule. Yeah. But I guess just there's minimal things that we do differently. But I think that in general, the courses would be the same. But yeah, I think the individual classrooms would be, beneficial for us as well. But I don't like just a general amounts of, like happy birthday to somebody in our class, yeah, or anything like that. Or, yeah, for example, I do morning meeting. This is the question for today. Let's see how many of you can answer, just stuff like that. But I think in general, in terms of subjects, I think it'd just be just like the class.
In one course, yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what I've got here. So I've got year 3, and then I've got, so this is loads as a page just to make it more interactive, because especially when they're quite young, it needs to be interactive.
Yeah.
But then they stay within this course, but then it takes them to maths, and in maths, this is what they've decided to study this week or this term. It's going to take them to this page.
Mm-hmm.
But it's entirely up to you where you want to take them. You can set it up where it is per term, or you can set it up where it's for the whole year.
Okay.
So every time they land on one page, and it might actually just be maths, and then it takes them to the different terms, or it takes them to the different weeks. Entirely up to the school how they set that up. Then if they click one of these, if I think I've got a Holly class here.
And Monica, just while you're looking for that, Neha,
Yep.
in terms of setting up, which of course is you want something that's not going to be a lot of work in terms of to get going. We can either support you, or we are in the process of doing it ourselves. Is you can make page templates, so you can create a template of this, for example, and then give it to all your teachers. So they start with the same template, and all they have to do is to customize it according to their needs, and that would help them tremendously from starting up. And then as you develop, you can build different templates for different use cases, but essentially you can very, very effectively get all the right students onto the course, easily have a template there, get the right content structure, import the information, and start to teach in a few days. It won't take you a long time to get going with this.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I think that's what we need at the moment. I just have a question. So in regards to these subjects, I guess that's just like you will help us create let's say the content blocks, or is it easy for me to do it myself?
It's very easy. So like this is my Holly class, and if you wanted to use it just for like key announcements and then put the class specific pictures on there, all that sort of stuff, probably better off landing on the overview page,
Mm-hmm.
because you can see the calendar there if you update the calendar, what's outstanding, but you can put your announcements here.
Okay.
So if I wanted to say happy, and I wanted to add an image, for example, I'm not going to add one because I don't have one of Amanda, or I wanted to add a resource, or if you've created a video where all the students are saying happy birthday to her, you could upload that into here.
Okay.
And if you've got 30 children and you don't want to always remember when they are, you could pre-program it.
Okay.
So if I know it's Amanda's birthday on Friday, and she's going to log in at 8:45 or round about that time, I can put that in, click apply, add the announcement, and now if I go to my scheduled announcements, it will tell me that there's a happy birthday to Amanda to be released out on the 1st of May, 8:45. So you can schedule that in, then you don't have to rely on remembering when it is. Then you'll come up in here because we have a mobile app. If the children or the parent has downloaded the app, this notification would come through on the app as well. So you know, that you can do that as quite a nice thing for the child to wake up and see that it's, you know, their classroom has wished them happy birthday.
Okay, yeah.
But any sort of announcements on here, like you said, the quiz, if you've got a quiz in there, you could, as a resource, you could add it in there. Let's see if I've got anything. No, probably not. But if you had a resource, any of these resources that are in here, you can add it to the overview page, and put the link, and you would see it. So like on here, I've got a registration for parents. You can see the course there, and they could just click on that and it will take them to the relevant resource. So they don't have to go and find it.
Okay.
So if you have a quiz, because we have quizzes on the platform as well as a tool and as a feature, you can put that in there, embed it into there just by adding a resource. Time it if you want to. And one of the clever features we get in is that you can start seeing who's seen it.
Okay.
So how many people have seen it, which is always a good thing, because then if someone says, oh, sorry, miss, I didn't see that. Yes, you did. The platform says you did. Which is quite nice. But yeah, these content blocks that you were referring to, so it's literally a matter of clicking on add page. It gives you a blank canvas here.
Okay.
So you rename the page to what is it? I'm just going to call it April page. And you don't have to remember click and save or anything like that. It just does it for you.
Okay.
The very popular one that we use is the rich content block.
Okay.
So this opens this up. And you could add any sort of images here. The way we normally say, if you want to have a row of different images, use a table, put in the relevant columns that you might want. I always recommend, where you can see width here, change it to 95%, because then when you're using it on a phone, on a website, on a tablet, it just kind of amends itself to fit into the screen.
Okay.
So that's just a quick tip to use. And then if you don't want any borders, you know, just get rid of the borders, click OK. And then you could add the relevant images into there. And then they're in a nice little line. In here, if you use Microsoft Teams, you could also use it through here. So you could put a Teams meeting in here.
Okay.
We're currently using Zoom. So if you wanted to add a Zoom meeting, if you took the Zoom package out and you wanted to add a Zoom meeting, you would just click on add and you would have Zoom available down here.
Okay.
Just click in and let me see if I can actually show you what it looks like on another site. So on this site here, so you can see there's Zoom here, but it is a matter of just clicking add, and you've got Zoom Classroom there.
Oh, okay.
And then you could just schedule a meeting for whenever it needs to be. So if you wanted to do a face-to-face classroom delivery with children, you can do. Some schools are actually using this to do staff meetings, SLT meetings, governors meetings, all that sort of stuff. You could do it in there, and that works quite nicely.
Okay.
Yeah, so where's it gone? Yeah, so to create a page, it is quite easy. You can change the layouts to be 1 column, 2 columns, wider left. And then you just add your blocks along, different things that you need it to be.
And that's for the subjects, right? Like that's like, for example, like science, English, maths.
You can use the page tool, so this is a page tool. You could use that almost anywhere. So you could use it in classrooms, you could use it in year groups, and then in the subjects as well.
Okay. No, I'm just a bit concerned of how I would, for example, create the year 5 group and then the separate subjects groups. I just feel like it may be a bit overwhelming. So I don't know if you could kind of,
okay. Yeah, no, I can
you
show
know what
you
I mean? Like I like the way it looks. I want to know how to do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So if I go into year 3, for example, the one I was showing you. So you could land on this, or you could land on an overview page. Landing on this makes it easier.
Okay.
But this is all just pages. So literally I've created some tables and put the pictures in.
Okay.
Then in these pictures, you then use this little icon here. Can you see it? It's next to the smiley face.
Yeah, it says tree link, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
you click that. So the difference between a hyperlink and a tree link, a hyperlink takes you to another external page or an external site or a separate course within its learning. A tree link takes you to any resource within that course.
Okay.
So on here, I want it to take the children down to term 2 maths resources. So I just tick on that, pick that. Obviously, to get to that, you need to have the resources in here. So if I click on the resources page, and you can separate it by term if you want to, or you could just leave it where it's the full year information and you just toggle what's on and what is visible and what isn't visible by activating and deactivating it. But you just literally so I want to add a maths folder. So you just put maths. Let's just put maths year 3. Then in here, you add all the resources. So you can add, if you're using Microsoft stuff, you'll use PowerPoint, Word. If you're a Google like you are now, you'll have Google embedded into here. So you could add the Google resources. You could add your links, pages, test assignments, all that until you start filling this one up with relevant information. So if I go into here, you can see my maths currently just has one thing because I use one page at a time. So that is entirely up to the school what they do in that sense. Once you've got the different classrooms, the different subjects completed with the information that you need, a lot of it is probably going to you've already got the resources as part of your planning. So it's just a matter of uploading it. If you're adding a file from something you've already got, you can just click on that and upload it straight into here.
Okay. So you would suggest the first thing you do as a teacher, the first thing I would want to do is upload all my resources and then create these class pages or these subject pages.
Yes. So add all your resources, because what you can do, let's go back into here. So, yes. When you land in here, this page that you've got, you can actually share it with all your teachers. So they don't have to, like Julia was saying earlier, you literally just click on that, the little 3 dots up here, hit copy to, and you can copy it to all your different classrooms. So whoever's got admin rights can put it in every single classroom of yours or every single year group, and just click copy, and it copies through to that classroom.
Okay, so like an announcement for like a general like school announcements or anything like that, right?
Well, this would be for the page.
Okay.
So then all your teachers have this set up, and all they have to do is go in and just change the links to link to their subject.
Okay.
So if you've got, year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you copy this page for all of those courses, they don't have to recreate the page.
Okay, and then they
They
can just
have
add
to
their own
edit it.
links.
Yeah,
Okay.
add their own links, maybe change this bit, maybe change this bit here, because they might have different classes. And it just makes it easier.
Okay.
In terms of the announcements that you were saying, to share it to different classes. Ooh, let's go back in here. So an announcement you can do per course, but we are coming to a point where we're going to allow announcements to be shared to different courses at the same time.
Okay.
It's in the future development, and we're hoping it's going to be ready for September.
Okay.
Is that correct, Julia?
Yes, back to school.
Yeah, back to school. So when we all go back. So yeah, at the minute it's per course. But yeah. So what I would suggest you do is start uploading. We can create to create a course is quite easy. You just click on course, the green dot, the green cross, click add course, and then just give it its name that you want to call it, and that comes through. Another thing that you can do that I think might be quite easy for you and for all your teachers as well is create the course as a template.
Okay.
So where I clicked on add and it show more options, you get course type regular, based on an existing course or template, or course with context from a third party. So it's this one. You would click on based on existing course or template. Then you can see the existing courses you've got here. So if you've created one course that's got the structure, the front page, all that sort of stuff ready, you can then just create new courses by copying that course. And then all the teacher then needs to do, obviously don't add your resources straight into it. What the teacher then needs to do is just go into the new course and add their own resources, update their links to match what they want it to match. And then you've got the shell ready. You just then need to add the extra content.
Now, would I receive help with creating these courses?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's just a bit overwhelming all at once.
No, I
it's
totally understand
simple, but it's just doing it all and creating it. I think that's where I kind of need some guidance.
So I think, Monica, what we just want, I think the purpose of today's meeting, especially with Dave and his colleagues, is to present to you an offering which will not only meet the current school closure, remote learning necessities, but also moving forward. But if you focus on the remote learning, what IS Learning can facilitate? It can facilitate you to have control of giving your users a set specific plan of work. It can allow you to track who's accessed what, but also how long they have spent on these resources. So maybe would you mind, Neha, just going into the 360 reports for 1 second? Because what that does is let's say you have a year five maths class. You can see which of those students have accessed that particular coursework over the time span that you wanted them to do it. And that gives you a lot of power as a school to know, well, hold on, we did present all our children with all the information and all the ability to mitigate all the impacts that school closure has had. And so that, if a parent comes to you and complains how my child hasn't felt they've been able to do this, say, well, that isn't quite quite correct. And that's where, coming back to your parental engagement, the ability to communicate with the parent as well, it becomes such a strong, powerful proposition, and would really present St. Joseph's Junior and Infant in a very strong light, in being able to say, we are in a very difficult, unprecedented time, but look at how we have managed this, and enable you to have complete control as to who's done what, from a teacher to a student, to facilitate that. The templates are the way forward to really help you have a quick start. You need to work with Dave to integrate the users on there, so that, you know, once users are on your MIF, which I believe would be Sims, I'm assuming, then it automatically goes into the platform. Nothing to worry about. No manual adding users, you know, all that kind of thing. And you can start there. And once you get started, we can work with you to progress, to use more and more features. You can do so much of this platform. There's, you know, it can be overwhelming when you get shown about all these things it can do. So let's move in stages.
Yeah. I think what we will do is, see, I told you it will move itself. Once we're at once we got the go-ahead, what we will do is we will sit with you and see what is the best way to set this up for you. So should it be like you've said, you know, you have a year group and then the different subjects within that course, and then you have a separate course for the different form classes for, you know, form specific announcements and things like that. And if that is how you want it, we'll sit with you and show you how you can set that up. So we'll basically share a screen and we'll show you, okay, click this, now do this, let's upload this, and then we'll work on it together. Usually we would do that face to face. Obviously you'll have to be remote now, but because we can do it for you ourselves, but then if you wanted to do something different, you know, we'll then have to have further conversations about that. Whereas if we sit with you and you do it, as you're doing it, you might be like, actually, that doesn't look right. Let's change it. And we could talk about how to change it. So we'll set that up with you, show you how to create the templates, and then copy it through. And then as you create the more templates for your different teachers, and as they start working on it, you know, we'll have conversations saying, okay, my teacher's trying to do this, can it do that? How does it do it? And that's where a lot of the training and things like that comes in. So we do handheld as much as we can, especially in the first year, because it is a very big platform. You know, I could talk until I go blue about all the different things it could do, but me just talking about it isn't going to do anything for you. You know, once you get your hands on it, the good thing is, as long as you don't play with the users and play with the hierarchies, you can't really break the system. So
and Monica, it can be as simple or as complicated as you wish it to be. So the fact that it can do a mountain of things is not relevant to you if you don't want it to be relevant. It can be as basic and that's I think the way to start it is to start small, start basic, start putting the right information on the courses, and have clear expectations. I think, Neha, maybe you want to just show Monica briefly the calendar and how that could be an option for them to work with it as well. Maybe even from a staff perspective, you know, that there's many ways that you can achieve your objective. I think you can have different objectives for meeting your students, meeting your parents, and meeting staff collaboration. Because staff collaboration is also very, very important to realizing success from a tool like this. You know, introducing efficiencies by saying, if one teacher in your year 5 maths has done the work, why does the other teacher have to do the same bit of work? Why can't you just work together and they can collaborate? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. So so the bit that Julia was talking about when it comes to 360 reports, which means that you can see what children are logging in. So obviously, bear in mind these are demo students. You can see they haven't logged in much in the last 7 days at all. This is the average amount that they actually log in general. But if I go on progress, you can see I use Amanda's account quite a lot. So you can see she's actually done some work.
Okay.
But because I've set work, this is the amount of work she's actually done. If it stays like that, and I actually think she should have done about 70% now, I could again send her a message, say, "Hi Amanda, why are you slacking for?" Oh, obviously not in those exact words. You know, it gives the teacher the power, and this is only for this particular course.
For this course, okay, that's what.
Yeah. So if I wanted to see the whole of, for example, year 5, I look after all of the children, or it's a year 5 staff meeting, we can go in and see that as well.
Okay.
We do have more advanced reports, which is a separate add-on, but I won't go into that until the school's at a stage where they're using it more, because that's when it becomes powerful. If you're grading the platform, again, you can see the grades in here, which is quite good. You can keep track of the charge. But this comes in great use when you're doing parents' evening, because you don't have to go to all the 10 different books that they've got where you've done the marks. It's all in here, which again is really good to make sure you do. If they're submitting work, if they're writing anything up and submitting an essay or anything like that, if they put it into the platform and you grade it in the platform, the grade sits in here, which is really good. And then calendars, when it comes to primary schools, in terms of for students, it's probably not that practical, but definitely for teachers, especially if you have teachers that are job sharing. So you've got 2 teachers teaching the same classroom, or 2 teachers looking after the same subject or year group. You could put it in here, and the teacher has a look, can see what needs to be done. You can put homework straight into the calendar, simply by, if I've got homework, say for Thursday, I've got a lesson on Thursday, so I want them to complete it before the lesson, I just click on that, choose the subject that it's for. So for me, it's year 3, explain what it is, and I could add a resource. So if I've got homework or a test that they need to complete before then, I could just add that in there. But if it's something simple like make sure if it was a normal time, I'm not sure if you actually do show and tell in this country anymore, but if make sure you bring your show and tell, and I can save it, give it the dates and everything that I have, and I can save it. This then comes through to all the year 3 children. They can see that on their classroom that they need to do it. It's available on their app because it links through to their app.
And is this as an announcement as well, or is it just on the calendar specifically?
So it's in the calendar. If I go to year 3 and go to their homepage, you will see it says it there.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool.
So if I then click into that, obviously if I click on show more, it says make sure you bring your show and tell.
Okay. So
you can see that sort of information on there, which makes it quite powerful, because if there is things to remember, quite common is make sure you remember to bring your PE kit. Or if there was, if we were still doing trips, make sure you remember to bring your permission slip. That sort of stuff. So it is like Julia said, there is so many different ways that you could use it. It just finding the way that works for the school, because every school has a different type of teachers. Some teachers would be like, yes, I really want to use the calendar, but some teachers some schools prefer to still use the basics in the sense of using a course, because with every course has a calendar automatically assigned to it. So you might, as a teacher, prefer to put it straight in the calendar, but another teacher might prefer to put it into a resource. So it becomes optional, but they're things to play with once the teachers are quite happy with using the platform and they can work their way around it. Because to be honest, if I put this in my calendar and I realize, oh, actually, I don't want that, I can just delete it. And it wouldn't cause any problems at all. Sorry, I've gone too far to delete it. Oh, right. Click on it. There's your delete button, and it's gone. So it makes it quite easy if they did something and they realize, oh no, I've done it for the wrong day. They could move the dates, or they could just delete it completely.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah. But I mean, the best thing to do would be to sit down where we share the screen again now, and set up your course, because your courses. Because if I go into the school one, at the minute there is no courses, so it will be a matter of adding these courses. Since you're a Year 5 teacher, it might be best to start a Year 5 course, Year 5 information in there, and then create that as a template course. And then copy that through for all the other different classes once we're happy with the structure.
Okay. And then there's like a general like school page as well. I think that you showed that at the beginning too,
Yes.
right?
So that's in groups, and it's here.
Okay. And
So
that's
obviously at the minute
add the
you've got
pictures and everything you said before.
So if you could go to settings, you could enable branding, upload a banner, add a logo, give it a name if you want, and then it would start looking a bit more like this.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's not that difficult to get to this.
I think, Monica, the next step is Dave and his colleagues didn't participate in the discussion, so we don't know what their thoughts. I think they'll be clearly, from the fact that they dropped off, they will be relying on your feedback now. And I think the feedback will need to be focused on what you feel that you can get from this solution. And then once we've discussed with Dave and formed some agreement, then we can start to support you ASAP. You know, it depends, and this proficiency is not something you have to have, you know, on day one. You just have to be guided to use it what you need to use it for now. And I think of those three things that I spoke about. It's the control, being able to control what you have asked your students to do, and to have confidence and to be able to verify whether they have done it or not. B, to engage with the parents, and then to communicate with each other. So Niha hasn't really gone through this, I don't think, in any depth, but there's also the messaging tool where you know, the messaging tool is where you can communicate with parents, you can communicate with each other, you can communicate with the whole school. If you wish to, you can do announcements where everyone is saying something, but you can communicate with parents through courses, you know, through the mobile app, which is something else which we haven't touched on. But whatever you see now can be reproduced on the mobile app. So, you know, Dave spoke to me about there are some sections of your school community that may not have access to a laptop, but they can still, doesn't mean they would have to stop, because they would just use the mobile app. So they can still have, you know, you can do almost 90% of what you can do in the web interface on the mobile app. Yes, it's in a smaller screen, but it enables that student to still be able to reciprocate.
And to have access.
And so it's the communication aspect which is really important, being able for staff to communicate with each other in a seamless way and a protected way alongside that. We've got plenty, you know, that web page has got plenty of things to help you outside of the support that we would give you directly. But when you come back to us, Monica, you need to tell us if there is a positive response and you feel this is something you can work with. We need to know exactly what you want to achieve. As Niha said, tell us what you want to achieve, and then we can design it specifically against that, and give you different options on how to realize it. You know, so yeah, do you have any initial thoughts?
To be honest, I like it. I think it's pretty simple. I'm wondering how it looks through a child's perspective. Is it very easy to navigate for them as well? Let's say their parents, okay, I logged in, go forth and go do your homework, and they walk away as if. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just that's what I'm a bit concerned about. It's just not from my perspective, but from their perspective.
I'm happy to show you. So again, like I said, the child logs in here, they'll hopefully know what year their group are in. Sorry.
Sorry, my head teacher's just calling me. Just bear with me. Hello. Hi, Leonie. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, we're still talking at the moment. We're just looking at it through a student's perspective. Okay, sounds good. I could give you a call once I'm done or whenever you'd like. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I've just had a look and I've realized that this session is actually recording, so I can send you. Yeah, a child logs in. Again, they see the same things, but they will only see. So remember where I said you could activate and deactivate it?
Yeah.
They will only see what you've activated.
And that's like what you said with either it's like let's say this week, or it could be this term or this half term, however I would like it to be basically presented.
Yes.
Okay.
So I could go into whichever one in here and I'll see what's on there. Obviously, resources are limited, but if I had, let's see what, she has access to something. So in here, if I had a homework link available, it would take me to the homework. The other thing that she also has is in her homepage, she has all this that says what's due. So she has to complete this. So I'll click in it and I can work through it. So obviously this is all just like playing around with things. So, you might just have a task available for her.
And then this homepage here, that just shows, like, for example, all the assignments that are due, or if there's any tasks or anything. Okay.
Yes. So in every course as well, so this is for if she's in more than one course. So she's in year 3 and she's in Holly class. If she then, obviously she's in a lot more, but if she goes into
Sorry, I can't hear you. I think
she's lost her, but she's coming back, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that,
we can visualize it.
I just realized I'm muted again.
No worries.
I can't wait till Wasim comes back so I could find out why my computer does that. Yeah, so if in year 3, she lands obviously on a particular page, and you can link it through that way, or you've got the overview page, which tells her what's outstanding.
Okay, that she hasn't done yet.
Yeah, that she hasn't done, or she could even see what she has done, but it tells, but it's all, it defaults to what's due.
Okay.
And anything that's got a deadline sits at the top. Anything that doesn't have a deadline sits at the bottom.
Okay.
And this is also where the announcements sit as well.
Okay.
So if you had, I think was it in Holly class, we set an announcement that said happy birthday, for example, come up here. And as you can see here, it looks like Amanda's able to make a comment. As a teacher, you could disable that.
Okay.
If you don't want the children to comment, but if it is happy birthday and you want the children to comment saying happy birthday or whatever, you can do. And again, you can see what's outstanding here. So from a children's point of view, it's as easy to navigate as the school makes it. So this is why we have all these little pictures. That's probably not a good example.
Monica, I'm sorry to be difficult, but I've got another meeting in 20 minutes and I have to just have a few minutes for bite to eat. So lovely talking to you, Monica.
Okay.
Thank you,
so
Niha,
much.
for continuing to support.
No worries.
And I hope to speak to you soon, Monica.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Julia, just don't end meeting for all.
I'm going to just mute myself.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yes, so on here, a student logs in and they can see, you can have the different subjects if you wanted to, or you could just do it where they log in and they just see what they need to do.
Okay.
So when we sit with you, we will work it through and see what's the best way of what you want the students to see.
Okay.
As you're creating it, a lot of the times you could toggle between the teacher's view and the student's view and see as you're making it what looks good, what doesn't.
Okay.
So yeah, from a children's point of view, it is really, really easy. When they're quite young, so when they're at year 4 or 5, it's quite easy for them to log in and find where they need to go.
Yeah.
When they're younger, it's quite common for the parent to log in.
Yeah.
In which case they normally have an app, and if they've got a tablet, you could get the app on the tablet.
Okay.
And keeps them logged in.
Okay.
So they could go and they can see what they need to see.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get an alert telling them that there's homework.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have an alert, they can literally just click on the notification and it takes them straight to their homework.
Okay.
Obviously, you've got messages up here. So if they wanted to message the teacher or the teacher wanted to message them, like I said earlier, why haven't you completed?
Yeah.
She's got that message.
And then can you see if they've read the message?
As a teacher, you can, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And then on here, you've got notifications. So on here, it tells me there's a new announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So I could click in that announcement. So if you wanted to put a new announcement saying, like I've put, please complete the learning path during next week's lessons, she's got that and she can see it. So if I wanted to then add the learning path link in there, I can do, and she could just click on that link and it will take her straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, from a child's point of view, it is quite easy for them to use as well. It is a matter of tailoring it to the type of children you've got. Year 3 and 4 might need to make it a bit more easy and a bit more basic, but then again, the lessons they teach probably won't be as in depth as year 5.
Yeah.
So when we're creating that, we will help you tailor that for them.
Okay. And then going back to like the subjects, can you, for example, create folders like, okay, this is, let's say, the week of the 30th of, I don't know, April to X amount. Can we do that too? Like, can we organize and then they click that and then they have all the work there?
Yeah. So
Okay.
if I hop back over to a teacher account, we'll go into, where are we? Oh, year 3. So in here, I've got all my different, say I go into term 2. We're still in term 2, aren't we? Or are we in term 3?
No, term 3.
Oh, term 3.
Summer term now. Yeah, I just started.
Term 3, and then I've got all the different subjects here.
Yeah.
Bear with me, I'm just going to close my window. I've had some trees removed recently because they were a bit diseased, and they were ruining the soil for all the other trees. So they've come today to get rid of the stumps.
Oh.
But it just happens, my study kind of sits in the alleyway.
Okay.
As they're going past, they're making a bit of a racket. But in here, you've got the different courses.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can create it where it's, bear with me. Okay, he's gone past now. So you can create it where you've got the different terms and the children only see that term. Because you just activate and deactivate it. But then within maths, you can then create a folder to be, what are we on?
Term 3, let's just say, for example.
So if you, or you could put the week numbers in there, you could put the dates in there.
Okay.
And then in there, you can put all the folders.
Okay.
So then what would happen is you would ask a child to come in on the page, where are we, year 3? And when they click into maths, instead of taking it to them to this page, it will take them to term 3 maths, and then they see the weeks.
Okay.
They could click into the date if you wanted them to, or you can just change the tree link, take it to the right week. What you can do is you could create a page, because this page could be as long as you like it to be, and you could put a different block for every week.
Okay. So for example, introduction could be week 1, and then where it says what are angles can be week 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could put that through. We embed quite nicely with Quizlet, which some of my primary schools quite like.
Yeah.
So this is all a Quizlet, and they could just work through it.
On the app too. Okay.
Yeah, straight into the platform. You don't need to go to a new page. You could also create this just as one big screen.
Okay.
So you would have this just as one page, but they could work through it, do everything they need to, and it helps them. So you could have this for a whole lesson where they just work through this. And all you'll do is, if you click on that little box here and pencil there, you just change the week.
Okay.
You could put that as I don't know, whatever week you've got a lesson. The problem with that is year 5 would probably be okay. Year 3 and 4, they'll kind of have to count what week it is.
Yeah.
So try and remember that. So if you're going to do that, you're probably better just put in the dates, because hopefully they'll be learning their dates by then.
That's what I think too. Yeah, maybe the dates would be easier, more organized.
Yeah. The other way you can do it, and again, I don't want to show you too much, but we have something called a plan. So if I'm going to see where I've got it available, I turned it off. Of course I have. I've got it for so obviously this is GCSE level, but you can use it for primary school. So it's called a plan. So you create a plan. So it tells you automatically what dates it's going to be on. And you literally go in and you create, obviously, what topic it might be. So if this was history and you were studying Romans, you call that Romans. You'll change the date to what it needs to be, add a description, and then add all your resources.
Oh, okay.
So if I change this date so it's still active, click OK. And now if I toggle to a student view, so did you see that little icon? It lets me toggle to the different views.
Yeah.
That's always quite useful. Maybe I didn't change it right. Let me redo that. Where are we? Oh, it's because it's 2009. 2019. Today. Okay. Let's turn it. Oh, actually, I wanted it on this one, didn't I? Silly me. Sorry, in a minute I'll show you how quickly they are, how quickly you could add them together. But I just want to show you the students view for a minute. So when they log in, instead of landing on a resource, they land on the overview page, and they've got it here.
Okay.
So they just click start, and it takes them through, and they've got a little button here that takes them through the resources.
Oh wow, okay. So that makes it even easier than the actual, like, the whole pages thing.
Yeah.
Or English, or is it only one plan?
So you can add one plan for a week.
Okay.
Or for a set period. So if you're teaching one thing for a week, another thing another week, you'll just add the different things. But if you want a whole terms plan, you can put that in there and just change the dates.
Okay.
So you can put, and this can be anything that is available in our resources. So if I go on, I'll create a brand new one, and what I'll do actually, because I've got the resources. Actually, I'll leave it in here. If I go to plan,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to add a new one, so you just add a topic. So I'm going to call it summer term. So summer term's available. So this is summer term, and now within there, I'm going to add a number of different plans.
Mm-hmm.
So I just click add plan, and I want to do the date. So today is the 20th until Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it Friday 4 o'clock. You know, I could just say work through this. I want to, so I could add an assignment, a task, pages,
Okay.
you know, recent ones. I could add anything from the course, anything that's in the library, Google, OneDrive or your actual computer. But if you want to show more, can you still see this pop up?
Yeah, I can.
So I could add anything in here, add a folder.
Okay.
If you got learning paths, you could put that in. Then that's that one. Then you add another plan for, say, next week.
Mm-hmm.
So from the 27th to 30th. So the first time you set it up, it takes a bit of time. The advantage is you could use this again next year just by changing the dates.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you add all them through. And then once you've got up until the May holidays,
Mm-hmm.
you can it's up to you when you activate it. So you could activate it now, or you could deactivate it and activate it later. You can move them around, delete them, entirely up to you to add a topic. And you can also change it to be in a different, you change it in different views, obviously, because the way I've set it up, you can't see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll just add the relevant information that you want in there and upload it, and then a child logs in, and instead of landing on a page, they land in here and they just work through what they need to.
Okay, so this wouldn't be under, let's say, like, you know how earlier for year 3 you had like English, maths, and all that stuff. It would just be under, like, this would just all be on one page, or how would it work?
Yes, so it'll be in one page, but what you can do is in year 3 you had all the different courses in one course.
Yeah.
What you would instead do is, if you wanted to, where are we? Let's go back. If you landed on this page and you clicked on maths, maths would actually be a different course.
Okay.
And you can then create that plan within that maths year 3 course.
Okay, so I would click on maths and then it would take me to the maths page and I could put the plan there.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I mean, if you wanted to set it up like that, and you and your SLT and that want to set it up as plans, we can help you set it up as plans instead.
Which one's easier, do you think? Is it easier to put the resources, or is it easier to put it as plans?
Well, if you put it in as plans, you don't ever need to actually go into this resource folder, because it all sits in the plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, both ways are quite simple. It's just we would recommend, if you're using the plans, all your teachers use the plans.
Yeah.
So I think, and a lot of schools do this, is they sit with whoever's going to be the steering group, so whoever's going to look after the platform, an SLT, and maybe someone from IT, and they decide which approach to use, and that's what they roll out to the teachers. Because if you roll out too many options to them,
it's just going to be too much.
Yeah, it gets really confusing, and then different teachers use different things, and then it gets very complicated. But I would say we're working on plans quite heavily to make it a lot easier. So the way I showed you just now might look a little complicated, but come September, it'll be so much easier to use it.
Yeah.
But if you start using it now, come September, it will be very, very easy for you. And come the new year, the new academic year, you just have to change your dates around.
Yeah, I know.
Because if I go back into it, and I go to my plans, you can literally just, if you've got a various number of plans in here, you can just drag and drop them to move them around.
Oh, okay.
Which makes it easier. So if this year you're studying Romans in the summer term, but next year you're going to study it in autumn term, you just move them around. And you can activate and deactivate these whenever you like. So you can time them to become ready later on.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I like the plan idea. I think it's more organized, and it's more, I don't know, for me it's more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, oh no, definitely. And it means when you're working on, when you're planning what you're going to teach, you could plan it into here rather than having a separate Word document.
Yeah. And is there a limit on, let's say, how much resources we have as a school, or is it unlimited storage?
So you do have a storage limit. So it's something like 600 megabytes per user.
Okay.
But bear in mind that is then calculated collectively.
Okay.
So you might have some admin users that don't actually store as much information as teachers do, and then students don't store and upload as much as teachers will. So you get all that extra storage. You can then purchase more storage if you needed to. Obviously, you can then archive items as well. And
you're saying like archive them on our personal computers or our
no, within It's Learning.
Oh, okay.
So if I go into a folder that I've got and I click on that, it deletes it. Obviously this one doesn't delete it, but because it's connected to a planner. But if I deleted it, I can then go in and find it in the trash can, but that has archived it.
Okay. And that's not taking up, is that taking up our data or storage? Sorry.
No, it won't pick up your resources, your storage amount.
Okay.
Plans are definitely a great way to do, and it means when the student logs in, they could just work their way through it.
Well, that's what I like. I like that I could see like, okay, fractured narrative, it says when I'm working on it, beautiful. I could say English, this is the date, maths, this is the date. I personally, I think it's more organized. I like the other one too, but I just felt like that page thing was a bit overwhelming for me. It's just there's so much.
No, that makes sense. So, I mean, what we would probably recommend is you have a page to land on that just has the subjects.
Yeah. And
the
links plans within all those subjects.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what, I don't know, personally, I feel like.
And then it means the child would land on the overview page. So any announcement you put in here, if they ignore their notification, they'll still see it.
Okay. And you still, with the plans, you still get to see if can they still put if they completed anything?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. So within a plan, you can have tasks and assignments and everything. So anything that is so if I can click in, there you go. So I've got a page, I've got a task, and I've got a discussion.
Okay.
But I could add as many things as I want in there.
And then discussion, I know I'm sorry I'm asking you a bunch of questions, but for the discussion, can you say, for example, like I've used Google Docs as a collaboration tool. Can you include, let's say, as a discussion, can I give a link to a Google Doc that everyone could use?
Yes.
Okay.
So within here, you've got topics at home, and you could add anything you want in there. So if you've got the link, you could, if you wanted, you could use this file and then just hyperlink it. By clicking on the hyperlink button, you could just hyperlink it to where it needs to go. Or if you wanted to be more interactive, you could upload an image in there and then hyperlink that image to take them to the Google Doc or anything like that.
Okay.
So yeah, or you could just copy and paste the link in there. You know, it depends how interactive you want to make it for the children.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay, yeah, I think it's I like the plan. And thanks for showing me that. I think it's just for me, it's just I'm very into aesthetics and how everything looks like. So I think it'd be easier for the kids too, just in terms of organization right now. I feel like that might be a bit easier for
Yeah,
them.
no, I definitely agree.
Okay.
But yeah, so what we'll do is when we help you set it up, create a landing page, and then with every course it will be a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still create those plans as a template.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the other teachers could copy it and paste it
Yes,
into their.
and then just amend it to what they need it to do.
Okay. And then you could add, like you said, like with the resources, you could add anything, like links. You could add a PowerPoint to the plan. You could add anything.
So if we integrate Google Classroom into here, you'll actually get it as extras here. As you can see,
Okay.
I've got Microsoft, so I've got these.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also, you've got Excel, you could have your OneDrive here, but you'll have Google Docs here as well. Sorry, all the
Okay.
Google links here as well.
Now, if, for example, like I know for myself, I have a Mac, so I don't have access to well, now I do, but before priorhand, I didn't have access to PowerPoint. Now, let's say a child does, if we, go forward and we want to use a PowerPoint, do they have to have PowerPoint on their computer, or does it open on through It's Learning?
It opens through It's Learning. So
Okay.
when I click
So
it,
they don't have to have the app or anything. They can
No.
just, it's online. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just here, and you can click on full screen,
Beautiful.
start working on it, what you need to do, and a bit like how Google Docs or Google Slides, how they work, where it up and saves as you go through. It would just do that. As you can see, it says saved.
Okay.
So I could change the name to what I need it to change to, add all the relevant information.
Mm-hmm.
So that works quite well in there.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, that's something that I was a bit concerned about. But if that's available, that's great.
Yeah, so within the platform, you get access to Office 365 online version.
Okay. And then you also get Google, like G Suite.
We'll put G Suite in there if the school's if wants to use G Suite. I know there was a question we had from Dave where he had to double check with LGFL to see if we could integrate it.
Mm-hmm.
We can add Google Suites in there for you, and Google Drive, but it depends who owns the tenancy.
Yeah,
but that would be a technical question.
About that.
That's a technical question we'll have with Dave.
If it's just Microsoft, it's fine. I don't mind. But and then you said that you could add like Teams and everything in there as well, right?
Yes.
And then is there Microsoft Notebook as well for example?
OneNote.
OneNote. Yeah.
At the minute, you can integrate OneNote into there.
Okay.
We'll integrate that for you if it's something you want to do. But come September, OneNote's going to be available just like it is in here.
Okay. Yeah, I like OneNote as well, just for organizing ideas. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I use that myself.
Yeah. I used OneNote for it during when I was in uni, but okay. And then it has like, for example, so I'm assuming you said the meetings are through, let's say, Zoom. They're not through Skype. They're just through Zoom.
Yes. So we do our meetings through Zoom. Yes.
Okay.
They just work a bit better, and we could record them. Because if we're working through something and I show you how to do it, and then you get swept with work, and you don't get to look at it again for about 3 weeks. In 3 weeks' time, you're probably going to have forgotten. So if I've recorded it, I'll send you that video, which you will then work through. Like you can play it again and look through it. And it kind of like builds up that training. A lot of the times we would recommend to do training face-to-face.
Yeah, but current circumstances,
it'll be all Zoom,
are preventing us from that. But I think, and then is the Zoom, because I know for Zoom it's like the 40-minute limit. Is that true with It's Learning, or is it an unlimited amount? So
within It's Learning, if you get the extra package, I think it gives you a pro license, which means you could use it a limited meeting hour at a time.
Okay.
So So that
Okay.
works fine.
No, I just, you know why? Because I didn't realize that it was just 40 minutes until I was talking to my friends back home, and then they were just like, "Hey, it's only 40 minutes." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, for that."
Yeah,
40 minutes
that's
will
true.
come
I'm
later.
back. I'm back. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I think so. Dave, sorry, just on the subject, Monica, Dave needs to make a decision whether it's going to be Zoom he wants to use or Teams.
Okay.
Hangouts will eventually be possible too. It just
Yeah.
depends on what integration St. Joseph's wants to go with.
Okay. I didn't know that Teams has videos. I didn't even know that. I just learned something
Yeah.
new.
Yes,
Teams has
videos in there as long as the school has
A Microsoft license.
a Microsoft license. You have to either be a business or an education license.
Okay.
Then you can put that in into the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sits as a standalone. Because of the situation, I think the company currently released it where you can put a link in and you could host a meeting from there.
Mm-hmm.
Come September, the plan was to have it fully integrated.
Okay.
So it depends how you want to use it. But yeah, that's a decision I guess that Dave can make and pass on to us and let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think we are
definitely. I'll talk to
restricted.
Dave.
We are restricted to how they have set up the Office 365, and I think Office 365 is just for staff, but that should still not be a problem because you can send the link within Teams. You don't have to have user students' email addresses.
It just means when you set up a Teams meeting, you get the option to share with anyone that has the link.
Okay.
A bit like I think with how Google works, like you could give anyone that has access to the link and access the Google documents.
And then I don't know if I haven't used Teams, but I know like for Zoom, you could have X amount of people, but is Teams the same thing? Can I have, let's say, 25 students on at the same time?
I don't believe Teams has a restriction.
Yeah. Oh, they don't. Okay.
I don't believe it does. We haven't noticed that yet.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting to something completely different. I'm sorry. I'm getting.
No, that's fine.
So,
this is your chance to ask the question.
Zoom has 100 100 user limit.
Yeah.
On the sessions. Haven't heard any restriction on Teams, as Neha said. So I think that was a meeting that was going to come forward 1 o'clock. Now it's been moved to 1:30 with Dave actually to discuss all the different integration of possibilities that we have. I think we can work with different options depending on how the school's been set up.
Okay, yeah, no, I see that there's a lot of options, so I feel like there's a world of possibilities with it.
There is indeed.
Okay. Well,
like
I wasn't expecting, because we started at 11 o'clock, so it's now 1 o'clock. So
it's 11:30 starting, I think.
Thank
so
you,
it's not too
both
bad.
of you, for sticking out for this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have any other questions, Monica, give me a shout.
Okay, is there an email that I could have for you or anything?
Yes.
I tell you what I'll do. I will.
Yep.
You should see it on the email, Neha.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's on a meeting invite.
Oh, okay. So what I'll do, Monica, is I'll send you a email.
Okay.
With my details, so you've got in my signature. You've got my email and my contact.
Okay, perfect. I could probably take a look too. I don't know if I could view it, but I'll take a look.
No, that's fine, and I'll send you that. So you've got that to be able to access any questions, or if you've got any questions or anything like that.
Okay, perfect.
Is there any burning questions you have right now that you want us to answer?
I think I've interrupted you enough to ask you questions. But sorry, I'm a learner that I have to ask because I'll forget after.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, but I think you've answered most of them so far. But if anything comes up, I think right now I can't really ask you that many questions because just like Julia said, we don't know if we're going through Google or if we're going through Microsoft. And I feel like that's just something that that's into the nitty gritty of it all. But I think the overall general questions, I think you've done a great job answering them. And Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. No, you're welcome. But like I said, anything you have, I'm sending you an email now.
Okay. Would
you'll
you
have
be able to send me the live recording just so I could have it as reference?
So once I finish this session, it would save onto my computer. And
Okay.
what I'll have to do, because it'll be quite thick, quite big,
Okay.
I'll have to save it to my OneDrive and send you a link.
Okay.
So I'll get you that sent. Actually, I'll send you that in the email as well. So
Okay.
bear with me. It probably takes about half an hour, I think.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
Yep. Okay, no worries.
Monica, just before you go, maybe Neha, the best thing might be is to ask Kate to put it onto YouTube.
You can do, but because we went into their site and that, we might have some problems.
Okay.
I don't want to be breaching GDPR when it's been locked down.
Yeah.
Whose site did
Well,
you
we
go
briefly
into?
went into the St. Joseph site.
No, but Monica's St. Joseph, so it's fine.
Oh, but if you put it in YouTube, doesn't everyone get access?
No. YouTube, private. You can
Oh,
make
okay.
you can make a
your
YouTube.
YouTube as a private link.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that.
So just ask Kate to make it YouTube private, please.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she always asks me if I want it public or private. So.
Yep, that's fine. I'll do that. Sorry.
It's a lot easier, a lot less to download on Monica's side then.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll do that. Right. Well, thank you so much.
And then when you email Neha, please include the web page, the coronavirus web page with all the links. There's so much stuff there that's really been designed of setting up, you know, and Neha has been actually hosting a lot of the webinars with another colleague of ours.
Okay.
And you'll find a lot of really, you know, simple information, and you can go there. But of course, to come back to us whenever you need.
Okay, so I could just email any of you, and then we could kind of go forth from there.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care now.
Bye bye, Monica.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Neha.
Why can't I turn this off?
I'm going to do it. Don't worry.
Oh, you have to end the meeting.
Oh, it's going to come to me. I'm going to be recording it. It's going to come to me.
Is it coming to you?
Yeah.
I thought it's recording on my computer.
Okay. Well,
We'll see what happens when we end the meeting. See you later.